Poor single dad asks Billionaire, why is my wife's photo in your mansion? Then the unbelievable, Caleb wasn't supposed to be inside the mansion. He was supposed to drop the envelope with the guard, get a signature, and be gone before his daughter's school called again about late pickup. Instead, he stood barefoot on imported marble, holding a manila envelope that suddenly felt too heavy for paper, staring at a face he had buried 4 years ago. The photo hung alone on the far wall. Not part of a gallery. Not decorative. Lit carefully like something sacred. It was Marianne. Same crooked smile. Same small scar at the edge of her eyebrow from the time she'd walked into a cabinet door while laughing too hard. Same eyes that always looked like they were listening even when she was quiet. Caleb's chest seized. No, he whispered, though no one was near enough to hear. A nameplate beneath the frame gleamed softly. Eliza Rowan, 1989 to 2019, beloved daughter. Beloved sister. Caleb dropped the envelope. It slid across the marble with a quiet, humiliating sound. He didn't remember walking into the house. Just the guard waving him through because the rain was coming down hard and the billionaire's assistant had said bring it inside. He didn't remember stepping past the crystal staircase or the walls that smelled faintly of lemon polish and money. He remembered Marianne's laugh. The way she used to tuck her hair behind her ear when she was nervous. And the night she died, on a bus bench waiting for him to finish a double shift, because she said she wanted to walk home together. She didn't like being alone, he murmured. A voice behind him said, "Excuse me?" Caleb turned too fast. The woman standing there wore tailored gray slacks and a soft sweater instead of the sharp suits he'd expected. Her hair was silvered but not old, pulled loosely at the nape of her neck. Her expression, professional, controlled, fractured the second her eyes followed his to the wall. Her breath caught. Then she went pale. "Who are you?" she asked. Caleb swallowed. Sorry? I was delivering this. But that photo." Her lips parted. Closed. Opened again. "That's not possible." Caleb gestured helplessly. "That's my wife." Silence fell like something physical. "You're mistaken," she said, but her voice lacked conviction. "That is Eliza Rowan." "She was Marianne Clark," Caleb said hoarsely. "She was my wife for 7 years. She died 4 years ago." The woman staggered. She grabbed the back of a chair to steady herself. "No," she whispered. "No, no, no." A man appeared instantly from the hallway. "Security. Come." "Large." "Evelyn," he said, concerned. The woman, Evelyn, didn't look at him. "Please," Caleb said quickly. "I'm not here to cause trouble. I need to understand why my wife is hanging in your house." Evelyn's eyes lifted slowly. They were wet. "Because," she said, voice shaking, "that is my sister." They sat in a smaller room overlooking a rain-slick garden. Caleb clutched a paper cup of tea he hadn't asked for. "I thought she was dead," Evelyn said hollowly. "I spent years believing she was." Caleb laughed once, sharp and broken. "She is." Evelyn flinched. Caleb immediately regretted it. "Sorry? Sorry? I didn't mean—" "No," Evelyn said quietly. "You meant exactly that." She wiped her face with the back of her hand, unself-conscious. Wealth didn't insulate grief, it turned out. "Eliza disappeared when she was 29, Evelyn said. "She left nothing. No note. No trace. My father hired investigators. My mother blamed herself. Her voice faltered. "I was angry." Caleb stared at the carpet. Marianne had never spoken about family. Not once. "I met her when she was 30, Caleb said. "She was working at a public library. She shelved books. Told me she liked the quiet." Evelyn made a strangled sound. "She hated noise," she whispered. "Crowds. Cameras." "Cameras?" Caleb asked. Evelyn exhaled shakily. "My family owns Rowan Dynamics. Infrastructure. Logistics. Ports." She was visible. And she hated it. Caleb's head spun. "She never told me," he said. "She said she grew up moving around. Said she didn't like talking about it." Evelyn nodded slowly. "She was protecting you." "From what?" "From us." Caleb's phone buzzed. He ignored it. It buzzed again. "Sorry," he muttered, checking the screen. "School office." His stomach dropped. "I have to take this." Evelyn waved weakly. Caleb turned away. "Yes." "Mr. Clark? This is Oak Ridge Elementary. Lily is still here." "I'm on my way," Caleb said immediately. "I'm so sorry." "Traffic?" "She's fine," the secretary said gently. "Just worried." Caleb closed his eyes. When he turned back, Evelyn was watching him. You have a child? She said. Yes, he said. Lily. She's 8. Evelyn pressed her fingers to her mouth. Eliza always wanted children, she whispered. She used to talk about names. Said she wanted something ordinary. Caleb smiled despite himself. Lily picked her own name. Marianne said she had flower energy. Evelyn laughed through tears. That sounds like her. Caleb stood abruptly. I need to go. I'm sorry, this is too much. Wait, Evelyn said. He paused. I'm not trying to take anything from you, she said. I would like to know who she became. Caleb hesitated, then nodded once. Okay. That night, Caleb couldn't sleep. Lily sprawled across the bed sideways, her feet in his ribs. Daddy, she murmured. You're sad again. Just thinking, he said softly. About Mommy? Yes. She rolled onto her side. I don't remember her voice very well. His heart cracked. I do, he said. I'll tell you stories. Promise. Promise. Lily fell asleep. Caleb stared at the ceiling. Marianne, Eliza. His wife. Someone else's daughter. Someone else's loss. 3 days later, a message arrived. Evelyn Rowan, I found some things of hers. Not valuable. Just personal. If you'd like to see them. Caleb stared at the screen. Then at Lily coloring at the table. Then back at the screen. He typed, okay. Caleb almost turned the car around twice. The first time was at the freeway on-ramp, when Lily asked if the mansion had a moat or dragons. The second was when the wrought iron gates slid open without a sound and the driveway curved like it was hiding something at the end of it. He told himself he was here for answers, not for permission to feel anything else. Remember, he said, keeping his voice light, we're just visiting. Lily nodded solemnly, then immediately leaned forward between the seats. Do rich people have cereal bars? Caleb snorted. I hope so. Otherwise this is a terrible plan. She grinned and some of the tightness in his chest loosened. Evelyn Rowan met them at the door. Not in a suit, thankfully, but in jeans and a soft cardigan that made her look less like a headline and more like a woman who'd slept poorly. She crouched to Lily's level. Hi, Evelyn said. You must be Lily. Lily squinted. You're tall. Evelyn laughed, surprised. I get that a lot. Caleb hovered, unsure where to put his hands. Evelyn stood and met his eyes. There was something careful there, a promise of boundaries. Thank you for coming, she said. I know this isn't easy. No, he agreed. But here we are. They sat in a sunlit room with shelves instead of chandeliers. Evelyn placed a plain cardboard box on the coffee table. It looked like something rescued from a storage unit, creased corners, faded tape. I didn't know what to expect, she said. But when I opened it, I recognized her immediately. Caleb nodded. She had a way of making ordinary things feel chosen. Lily climbed onto the couch and peered into the box. Is there candy? Evelyn smiled. Not in this one. But there might be something better. Caleb shot her a look. Don't oversell it, but Lily was already intrigued. Inside were small things. A paper ticket stub from a local theater, a pressed leaf, a bracelet made of knotted string and beads that looked handmade. Caleb picked it up and felt his throat close. She wore this, he said. Until it broke. She said it was from a friend who knew her when she was dumb. Evelyn laughed softly. She was never dumb. She just liked pretending she was. There were notebooks too. Not diaries, lists, sketches, half-finished poems. Margins filled with questions. What does it mean to be brave if you're scared anyway? What do you owe a name? Caleb sat back dizzy. She wrote like this at home too. Grocery lists with jokes. Notes to herself that sounded like pep talks. Evelyn swallowed. She used to leave notes in my shoes before exams. You're smarter than your fear. I hated her optimism. Lily picked up a small chipped mug from the box. It read, World's Okayest Human. This one, Caleb said quietly. She drank tea from it every night. Evelyn's eyes shone. She stole it from our aunt's house. Caleb blinked. She said she found it at a yard sale. Classic. They shared a look, half smile, half sad, and the air shifted. Not warmer exactly. Softer. Lily wandered to the window, then back to the box. Did Mommy like puzzles? Caleb opened his mouth. Evelyn answered first. She loved them, she said. But only if she could quit halfway and do something else. Lily nodded approvingly. Same. Evelyn laughed. I thought so. They ordered lunch because Lily announced she was starving, and Evelyn refused to let Caleb pay. The food arrived, Simple, unpretentious. Lily inspected everything like a tiny judge. "This is good," Lily declared, mouth full. "You cook." "Not often," Evelyn admitted. "I have people." Lily considered this. "I have a dad." Caleb choked on his water. Evelyn hid a smile behind her napkin. After lunch, Lily retreated to the rug with crayons Evelyn produced from nowhere. She hummed to herself, blissfully occupied. Evelyn turned to Caleb. "She didn't leave because she didn't love us." "I know," Caleb said. "She left because she loved me." Evelyn nodded. "And because she needed to breathe." They sat with that. "My parents," Evelyn began, then stopped. "They were not monsters. They were convinced that everything had a right way. That Eliza's life belonged to the name. She hated being watched," Caleb said. "She loved the bus. Said it made her feel invisible." Evelyn smiled sadly. "She used to wear hats pulled low and sunglasses indoors. My mother called it embarrassing." Caleb shook his head. "She called it peace." Silence fell again, companionable and heavy. "I'm glad she found you," Evelyn said finally. "I mean that." Caleb hesitated. "I'm sorry she didn't tell you she was alive." Evelyn's shoulders lifted and fell. "I'm sorry she thought she couldn't." They looked at Lily, who had drawn 3 stick figures holding hands under a lopsided sun. "Who's that?" Evelyn asked. "Me," Lily said. "Daddy." "And Mommy." Caleb's chest tightened. Evelyn didn't look away. "It's beautiful." Lily beamed. "It happened in the kitchen." Caleb was rinsing cups. Evelyn stood beside him, drying. Their elbows bumped. "Sorry," he said. "Sorry," she echoed. They laughed, awkward, startled, and the laughter lingered a beat too long. Caleb became aware of the smell of lemon soap, the quiet competence of her hands. He thought of nights alone, of conversations cut short by sleep, of the relief of being understood without explaining. He stepped back. Evelyn noticed. She nodded once, grateful. "Thank you," she said quietly. "For what?" "For not blurring." He swallowed. "I don't want to hurt her memory." "I don't want to either." They stood apart, the line clear and respected. It cost something to keep it. That was how he knew it mattered. Weeks passed. They met at neutral places, parks, cafes, the public library where Marianne had worked. Evelyn listened more than she spoke. Lily decided Evelyn was a safe grown-up, and that was that. Once Lily asked Evelyn if she had kids. Evelyn paused. "No, do you want them?" Evelyn glanced at Caleb. "I think I wanted different things at different times." Lily nodded, satisfied. "Okay." On a rainy afternoon, they sat on a bench watching pigeons. Lily named them. "That one's Steve," she announced. "He's rude." Evelyn laughed. "Steve has that energy." Caleb smiled, then felt the guilt slide in. He excused himself to buy hot chocolate and stood too long at the counter, breathing. It's allowed to feel warmth, he told himself. It's not allowed to rush. Evelyn brought a slim envelope one evening. There's something else. Inside was a letter. Not long. Written in Marianne's careful, slanted hand. Caleb's hand shook. "She wrote this before she disappeared," Evelyn said. "I think she meant to leave it, but she couldn't." He read. "If you find this, it means I was braver than I felt. Please don't look for me to bring me back. I don't belong to the name anymore. I belong to the life I choose. I hope one day you'll forgive me. I hope one day you'll understand that loving quietly was the only way I knew how." Caleb pressed the paper to his chest. Evelyn wiped her eyes. She loved fiercely. She just refused to be owned. Lily climbed into Caleb's lap. "Mommy wrote." "Yes," he said. "She did. Is she okay?" Caleb kissed Lily's hair. "She is." It almost happened again, this time at the door. Caleb was leaving. Evelyn walked them out. Lily hugged Evelyn, hard and unself-conscious. "Come back," Lily said. "I will," Evelyn promised. Caleb hesitated. "Thank you. For everything." Evelyn met his eyes. "You don't have to thank me." For a second, the space between them felt charged. Then Lily cleared her throat. Loudly. "Dad." Caleb laughed, relieved. "Right. Sorry." They parted cleanly. That night, after Lily slept, Caleb sat at the table with the letter. He didn't romanticize it. He didn't invent signs. He simply acknowledged the truth. Shared grief had braided their lives. It didn't mean destiny. It meant care. He folded the letter and placed it in a drawer. "Slow," he said aloud. "And honest." From the hallway, Lily's sleepy voice drifted out. "Dad." "Yes, honey." "You're smiling." He smiled wider. Am I? Yeah, she said. It's nice. The permission didn't arrive like a revelation. It came on a Tuesday. The kind of Tuesday that smells like rain but never quite delivers it. The kind that stacks ordinary moments until one of them tips into meaning. Caleb noticed it first in his body, not his thoughts. The way his shoulders didn't lock when he laughed. The way his breath stayed low and steady when Lily asked if they could stay longer at the park because the swings were still warm. He said yes without calculating the cost. They stayed until dusk. Lily raced the length of the playground, her shoes scuffing arcs into the sand. Caleb sat on the bench, hands wrapped around a paper cup of coffee that had long gone cold. Across the park, Evelyn was helping an older man fix a crooked chessboard on a concrete table. She knelt, focused, her hair falling forward. She wasn't performing kindness. She was just doing it. Caleb watched without hunger. That was new. They had stopped pretending it was accidental, running into each other, overlapping schedules. Still, nothing had been declared. No vows to protect the past. No promises about the future. Just rhythm. Evelyn and Lily had developed a language of small rituals. A knock-knock joke at the start of every visit. A shared disapproval of raisins. A rule that any book borrowed from the library had to be returned with a note tucked inside. A sentence about where the story felt strongest. Caleb noticed how Evelyn waited before answering Lily's questions. How she didn't rush to fill silences or solve problems. Mattered. One evening Lily asked, "Did Mommy ever burn toast?" Caleb blinked. Evelyn didn't. All the time, Evelyn said. She said it tasted like effort. Lily giggled. I like effort toast. Caleb closed his eyes just for a second. He felt the memory land, not as a wound but as a shared inheritance. The letter changed something in Evelyn. Not outwardly. Not dramatically. But Caleb noticed the way she stopped apologizing for pauses. The way she allowed herself to grieve without editing it into something palatable. They sat one night at the kitchen table, Lily asleep, the house quiet in the way that only happens when a child has finally surrendered to dreams. My parents reached out, Evelyn said, staring into her tea. Caleb didn't react immediately. He waited. They want to meet Lily, she continued. Not to claim her. They said that clearly. But to witness. Caleb's jaw tightened. He forced it to loosen. And you? I told them no. Not yet. She looked up. I wanted to tell you first. He nodded. Thank you. They'll never be who she needed, Evelyn said. But they're trying to understand who she chose to be. Caleb considered this. People can try without earning access. Yes, Evelyn said, relief clear in her voice. Exactly. They sat with that shared boundary, unspoken but solid. It finally rained. A thunderstorm that arrived late and stayed too long. Lily woke crying, disoriented by the sound. Caleb carried her to the living room, wrapped her in a blanket, and turned on a lamp. Evelyn appeared in the doorway, already dressed, eyes clear. Can I? She asked. Caleb nodded. They sat on the floor with Lily between them. Evelyn taught Lily how to count the seconds between thunder and lightning. How to name the sound so it felt less like a threat. Lily's breathing slowed. Her fingers curled into Evelyn's sleeve. Caleb felt something unlock. Not desire. Permission. He didn't say it out loud. He didn't have to. It happened after Lily fell asleep again. They stood in the kitchen, the rain a steady backdrop. I need to say something, Caleb began. Evelyn leaned against the counter. Okay. I don't want to replace anything, he said. I don't want to move faster than the truth. I don't want that either, she said. I don't want Lily to feel like love is something that disappears and gets swapped out. Evelyn nodded. Then we don't disappear. And we don't swap. He exhaled. I think I'm ready to choose carefully. She met his eyes. I think I've been waiting for you to say that without fear. He smiled. I'm still afraid. So am I. They didn't touch. That mattered too. Weeks later, Caleb asked Evelyn to stay for dinner. Not as a guest. As someone included in the planning. Lily insisted on spaghetti. Evelyn taught her how to test noodles against the cabinet. Caleb watched, amused, as flour dusted the air and laughter replaced the quiet he used to guard like a fragile thing. At the table, Lily raised her fork. This is a good dinner. Caleb felt it settle in his chest. Good. Not perfect. Not symbolic. Just good. The invitation came in the mail. An embossed envelope. The Rowan crest. A formal request. Evelyn stared at it, then handed it to Caleb. They want a private meeting, she said. No, Lily. Caleb read it once. Then again. You don't have to go, he said. I know, she replied. But I want to. For myself. He nodded. I trust you. She paused. That means more than you know. The night before the meeting, Evelyn barely slept. Caleb made tea. They sat together in the dark. If they ask about Lily, Evelyn said, I'll say she is loved and protected. If they ask about me? Caleb asked. I'll say you are steady, she said. And that steadiness isn't weakness. He swallowed. Evelyn returned hours later. She looked exhausted. Relieved. They cried, she said. Not performative. Real. Caleb listened. They didn't ask for Lily, she continued. They asked what Marianne was like at the end. Caleb felt his eyes burn. What did you tell them? That she learned how to be happy quietly. He nodded. She did. Evelyn took a breath. They asked if they could write letters. Not send them. Just write. Caleb considered. Writing is allowed. Evelyn smiled. I thought you'd say that. It happened without ceremony. They were cleaning up after Lily's birthday party, a small one intentionally so. Balloons drooped. Cake crumbs dotted the counter. Evelyn reached for a plate at the same time Caleb did. Their hands brushed. This time neither stepped back. Caleb closed his fingers gently around hers. Evelyn didn't flinch. They didn't kiss. They didn't need to. The touch held everything they'd refused to rush. Later that night, Lily sat cross-legged on her bed, serious. Dad. Yes, sweetheart. I like Evelyn being here. Caleb knelt. Why? She listens, Lily said. And she doesn't try to be mommy. She just is. Caleb nodded. His voice was steady when he spoke. That's important. Lily considered. You smile more. He smiled. I do. Yeah, she said. It's not a scared smile. He hugged her, careful and close. Caleb returned to the drawer. He took out the letter. He read it slowly. This time he didn't feel like he was trespassing. He folded it and placed it back, not as a relic but as a foundation. They didn't move in together. They didn't make declarations. They built something slower. A spare toothbrush. A shared calendar. A tradition of Sunday walks where no one talked about the week ahead. One evening, Evelyn stood at the door ready to leave. Stay, Caleb said. Not urgent. Not pleading. She did. Months later they sat on the porch as dusk settled. Lily lay between them, half asleep, her head on Evelyn's knee, her feet in Caleb's lap. The air was soft. The world momentarily felt kind. Caleb looked out at the quiet street and thought, not for the first time, that love didn't always arrive with fireworks. Sometimes it arrived with permission. Sometimes it stayed because no one tried to own it. Evelyn rested her hand over his. He didn't flinch. He didn't rush. He stayed. Indy.